Hey everybody, welcome to Lessons with Troy. Well, today's lesson I'm calling it Southwest Desert Sounds for the lap steel. We're in open D tuning, so D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. I've got my Duesenberg here, but we're not going to be using the benders, so I'm going to be doing some, palm blocking and stuff by the bridge. So I just push those benders. You can twist them. I just twist them back, kind of out of the way for something like this. So yeah, these kind of sounds to me invoke visions of like rolling tumbleweeds and canyons and the desert cactuses, that kind of West Texas. I don't know, the a lone highway, kind of stuff like that. Just those soundscapes that you kind of think about when you hear this in movies or commercials or on albums. Now, what kind of inspires my tone and things like that is I love Ry Cooder, and he has an album called Paris, Texas. He did the soundtrack for that, and it's not necessarily the overdriven thing. I think that might be more acoustic guitar or something that he does in that one. But this is kind of the sound that I hear. A lot of reverb, and in this lesson we'll go over the effects that I'm using, kind of how I'm getting the tone. What you saw in the intro, I've got that tabbed out too, and we'll be going over that. And that tab, if you get this on my site, that'll come with the lesson. And also, real important, we're going to be going over a couple diagrams that I made for open D tuning, the D minor scale. So the a D scale with a flatted third, flatted sixth, flatted seventh, and also a D minor pentatonic scale. So we'll be going over that chart as well. So let's talk first, how do you get this kind of sound, right? Well, really, let me show you if I turn my reverb and delay off. Sounds like that, right? Totally dry. So when you hit it, the sound just dies off. So if you have a good reverb pedal or reverb effect on your amp, just turn that on, kind of crank that up. I've got it, I think this is a hall reverb that I'm using on my Kemper amp. I just did a video all about my Kemper. If you want to learn more about it, it's on my YouTube channel. So there's the reverb that I'm, just a real long reverb. So that's the main part of that tone. I do have it to where you can hear a little bit of, it's breaking up a little bit of grit to my tone. If I dig in, you can really hear that. But if I lighten up the touch, then it kind of cleans it up. So that's kind of cool that you can do with this Kemper, and it's kind of emulating what you do with a cranked tube amp, So then I put just a touch of delay on there too. Just barely any, honestly. Now, the other cool thing you can do, I didn't do this in the sample, but you can put a little bit of tremolo on there if you've got that effect on your amp or a pedal or something. Here's my tremolo if I wanted to use it. Turn it up, turn the intensity of it up, and you can hear it a lot more. But yeah, I don't use that a whole lot, but yeah, it's kind of a neat little sound or effect that can kind of give you more of that kind of Southwest desert sound. You can definitely overdo it. That's why I like keeping it real simple. Just kind of that reverb is my main effect that I'm doing, a real heavy reverb. Like I said, I'm using a hall reverb with a pretty long time on that. meaning that the reverb goes, the tail of the reverb really has a long tail to it. Yeah. So, so that's what I'm doing as far as the tone goes. Let's jump in now to the diagrams, and I'll show you, how I'm kind of approaching this kind of a sound. Now, mostly what I'm doing is sticking with the D minor scale. So kind of that minor tonality gives you that mysterious sound. And I'll show you this in the diagram, but let's say we're on our open string. I'll show you real quick how to play a D minor scale. You're basically going to take a D major scale, right? And you're going to flat the third. So normally in a D major scale, you have D, E, that's your happy third, right? So you just flat that to a minor third. So open, second, third. Do your 5th fret, 7th fret. And now instead of playing the major 6th of the scale, we flat the 6th. And instead of playing the major 7th, we flat the 7th. So you have a flatted 3rd, a flatted 6th, and a flatted 7th in comparison to a regular D major scale. Those are the 3 notes that you would change in that D major scale. So it sounds like this. And of course, you have 3 D notes on your or 3 D strings on your instrument, so you can play that same scale, same frets on your 4th string. Keeping in mind, you can always play a D power chord over a minor because it's root 5th root. You're not playing your 3rd there. So most important thing is don't hit that happy note on your 3rd string. That's your happy sound. That's your major 3rd. Yes, you could tune it down to a flatted 3rd, but I don't ever really do that. I just play in that major tuning, but still kind of avoid that major note, that major 3rd. Okay, let's check out those charts now. Okay, so these are the charts that I made for this lesson. As you can see over here to the left, we have the key of D minor, and that's going to be what's called a D minor scale, also called a D natural minor scale. We have our root in green, our 2nd in orange, our flat 3rd in blue, our 4th in brown, our 5th in red. We have a flat 6 in this scale. And we have a flat 7. Now, what does all this mean? Flat 6, flat 3rd, all that. Basically, what that means is normally you have a D major scale, right? You have root 2nd, major 3rd, right? Normally, you would have your major 3rd here. Well, what you do in a minor scale is you flat the 3rd of the scale, you flat the 6th, and you flat the 7th. So what would normally be our major 3rd here on 4th fret, we move back, and we do that anywhere where we would basically have that major 3rd. It's moved back a fret. Okay, same thing with the 6th. Normally, you'd have a major 6th on your 9th fret here in open D tuning in the key of D. But we flat that down to our 8th fret. Same thing here. Our major 7th would be on our 11th fret, but we move that back. So flatted 3rd, flatted 6th, and flatted 7th. Now let me show you what that sounds like, because all that theory is great, but let me just show you. So what I like to do is I like to drone out either my low D string or my 4th string so that my ear has kind of something to base the scale on, right? So I'll play that root, right? Open. Play that droning 6th string just to kind of keep it going. I'm going to move up to my 2nd fret, 3rd fret. Hear that? Versus this major. Hear the difference there of the happy versus sad or mysterious? There's that flatted 3rd. Move up to our 5th fret to our 4th of our scale. 7th fret to the 5th of our scale. 8th fret, you'll really hear this flatted 6. Listen to this, go from the 5th to the flatted 6. Flatted 7th on our 10th fret. And then root. Now what I've got down here, keep in mind, 0 to 12 is going to be the same thing as 12 to 24. Your interval, your spacing, and all that stuff is the same. So if you memorize 0 to 12, you'll know way up here 12 to 24. You know, it does get a little bit harder to play with the thinner frets and all that. So that's our D minor scale. Now I suggest to just start off and play it, you know, 1 string at a time with those droning notes. Maybe start off with your roots, right? Do the 1st string, then move to your 4th string. Let me show you what that sounds like. D, 2nd of the scale, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 6, flat 7, root. Play it backwards. So you can already see that kind of sound that it's getting, that mysterious sound, that kind of what I keep calling a Southwest deserty sound. But that minor key will definitely give you that darker sound versus a major key. You know, you're not going to get that same. Okay. It's just so happy, you know. That's all major. It just doesn't have that sound that we want. So flat your 3rd, flat your 6th, flat your 7th, and you get the you're going to the desert. Breaking Bad, you know, that series, that kind of a sound, or Better Call Saul. Very mysterious. Now notice nothing's on the F sharp, your open string. You're not going to play that major 3rd when you're playing a D minor scale, right? You want an F natural. So stay away from that open 3rd string. That's going to be kind of hard to not accidentally hit it. But yeah, you can play on your your 2nd string and 5th string. You can start playing that. Just always, you know, keep that droning. You can start improvising with hammer-ons, pull-offs, you know. 5th of the scale, flat 6, there's where I'm at. Flat 7, 3rd fret. Root. Going to the 2nd. Flat 3rd. 4th. 5th. So what you want to do if you're ever like wanting to kind of play some arpeggio is I like to go 6, 5, 4, thumb, index, middle, and then you can play your middle on your 2nd string, middle on your 1st string. That kind of a drone. Bring it up the octave, right? 12th fret. Root. 2nd. flat third, fourth, there's where we're at, fifth, flat sixth, flat seven, root. Okay, cool. So let's go over here to the right to our D minor pentatonic. Now what we're doing here, we're losing a couple notes, right? We're going to lose the second of our scale. So we're just going root to flat third. And we're losing the sixth of our scale. So we go root, flat third, fourth, fifth, flat seven, and root. And so this gives you kind of less notes to play, obviously. Kind of a neat little pattern here is on your second string going root, flat seven, fifth, fourth, flat third, root, flat seven, fifth, fourth, flat third, root. So that pattern there sounds like this. Root to flat seven, boom. Fifth to fourth. Flat third to root. Flat seven to fifth. I kind of did that weird. I'm going to do a pull up there. Flat seven to fifth. And then flat third to root. Or sorry. We got to hit the fourth. Four. Flat third. Root. But with this stuff too, it's just great to just drone out those. You could notice how we got a root, fifth, root. Same thing there. Even in a minor key, you can grab that power chord there. Let that whole power chord ring out. As you're playing scales on your first string, second string, right? It just really fattens it up. You might have to, depending on your how long your sustain is, you might have to come back and grab that chord again and then run that D minor pentatonic scale just up on that first string, right? And notice what I like to do a lot is notice the minor pentatonic. I do like to add that second in there. That sounds cool. You know, flat third to second. So yeah, those are the scales that I would suggest for you to run and just get them memorized. You know, get them first memorize. You know how that D minor scale is made, what you're changing, and then just go string by string. But have fun with improvising on it. You know, keeping these either your root or the whole power chord ringing out, and then just doing hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides. Keep it real slow and smooth, and you'll start making up your own licks. So you can slide too. Boom. That's flat seven to root there. I do that a lot. Okay, let's go ahead and move on.